Thank you patrons for the much appreciated support, where $1 or more gives you access to the Duel Links Meta Discord channel. Before we go into the gameplay, let me tell you that Gravekeepers without Yami is heavily reliant on making plays with Gravekeepers Recruiter. Without restart, you have a 50.88% chance of opening with a Recruiter, 60% chance of going second. With restart, you have a 75.87% chance of opening with a Recruiter, 80% chance of going second. Here's the deck, updated for the incoming Switcheroo nerf coming May 23rd. Fiend Mega Cyber is my personal tech choice at the moment due to its aggression and working with Double Summon or Soul Exchange if needed. You could switch this with another good card like Skull Lair or Eliminating the League. Double Summon makes Gravekeepers extremely aggressive. Gravekeepers are a glass cannon with Double Summon. With Double Summon you are able to end games out of nowhere, make massive comebacks, or get an Oracle effect off without your opponent seeing it coming. Let me start off the gameplay by showing you a common Double Summon play from the opponent's perspective. This is devastating, even if it were only 2 monsters. Now, let me show you how to counter this from happening to you. Because the toggle is set to on, you only then now do you get asked if you would like to use Order to Charge in response to your opponent setting a monster after using Double Summon. You now have an opportunity from preventing an Oracle or Chief play, but you must have your toggle set to on to do this. Here is a 3-card combo with Double Summon, Recruiter, and Enemy Controller. To avoid my opponent from Order to Charging my face-down Recruiter to stop my play, I make sure to use Enemy Controller to steal my opponent's monster first, to then follow up with Double Summon afterward. While this play plays around Order to Charge, this leaves me vulnerable to Magic Drain, so depending on the situation you must choose what you feel is best. This is a Fiend Mega Cyber combo with Double Summon. This combo allows me to OTK my opponent when comboed with Oracle. This is another OTK combo with Double Summon, but this time it is with 2 Oracles used. Double Summon isn't just for OTKs or big plays. Sometimes the best play with Double Summon could be just setting 2 Recruiters in one turn. Now on to the first game. This game is in my opponent's perspective, like the majority of this video is. Sadly, duel replays are completely random as far as I know. This will also give you better understanding on how to counter Gravekeepers though. If Gravekeepers T-sets, which means 1 monster and 1 spell/trap set, it is safe to assume it is a Gravekeepers Recruiter and an Enemy Controller. Enemy Controller is great for countering Relinquish by tributing your own monster to prevent their effect. Soul Exchange with Chief in hand and Recruiter in Grave is, I would say, Gravekeeper's signature play. It is important here that I just leave Relinquished at 0 attack from Oracle effect until I can confidently get rid of Relinquished. The biggest decision this relinquished player had to make was deciding on sitting on a Karibo or being more aggressive. For this specific game, they would have won if they were more aggressive instead. Another relinquished deck from my opponent's perspective. This is very unlucky for the relinquished player to not open with either Sonic Bird or Senju with Switcheroo. He had about a 92% chance to at least have either of them. This is one of the best uses of enemy controller right here. Tributing Recruiter to take control, then search for Chief and Tribute. Because it can be obvious that a set card is enemy controller, sometimes it is wise to set a bluff for a chance that your opponent deviates from an ideal plan when trying to play around enemy controller. Relinquished again. Opponent's perspective.
Duel.
Horrible play not summoning Relinquished to start his lead. He even has a second Relinquished and a Sonic Bird for a follow-up. Tributing for a Fiend Mega Cyber was good to start the aggression. Bait out a Relinquished, and have a Search Chief to combo with my Soul Exchange. Usually relinquished players will rob you of your Recruiter search by using Relinquished's effect on Recruiter. This is devastating for a Gravekeeper player. At 400 life, I will have to play extremely carefully. Like I said earlier, sometimes you have to bluff the enemy controller. He might have changed his play because of thinking it was an enemy controller. Enemy controller or not, I feel he made a big misplay by not going for it, as 4-star Ladybug does nothing against Gravekeepers. Now he is spent, as I reveal my bluffed card. I'm assuming the random Wild Tornado was his way of showing he has given up. major risk here is if he plays any card that is 1600 attack or more, which most relinquished decks don't. So this is why I was willing to take the necessary risk to try and end the game early before I just allow him to regain resources for more relinquished plays. Now on to Harpies, still from my opponent's perspective.
Duel.
Very common play from Harpies is to set Birdface turn 1. It was a definite misplay to not flip Birdface and use it for an attack right here. Fiend Mega Cyber helps get rid of an enemy controller to open up future plays. Thanks to Double Summon, I'm able to turn the game around into my favor, and because he did not have his toggle set to on, like I showed earlier in this video, he was not able to counter my Double Summon Oracle play and maintain his lead. Even after swinging the game heavily into my favor, it still is a close game as I am required to use enemy controller to stop his attack, and then also use enemy controller to take control for a tribute summon. I have 2 chiefs in my hand, and because you can only have 1 chief on the field at a time, I am not allowed to even attempt to tribute summon my chief for another one, but you can tribute set. Harpies in my opponent's perspective.
Duel.
Sonic Duck helps make a bad hand good for this Harpy player. Because my deck has no back row for Harpies to freely destroy, he is forced to start cannibalizing his own resources in order to make plays. Elegant Egotist is the most devastating play Harpy players can make, even more devastating if they are destroying your back row during it. Again, while looking extremely grim, Double Summon saves the game by oracling the entire field of monsters.
Duel.
A very aggressive hand for the Harpy player. With the help of Soul Exchange and Enemy Controller, I am able to swing the game into my favor. This is where I decide to use Double Summon to help finish the game early from out of nowhere. My final game against Harpies, now from my perspective.
Duel.
I have a choice here to either save my Enemy Controller or my Oracle. I decide to hold on to Oracle, especially because I will have a second Double Summon to use with it whenever I decide I need to fall back onto it. Against Harpies, you have to sometimes make the decision to put Recruiter in defense, due to Recruiter being 1500 defense, to stop a Harpy from destroying him. Again, I can make a Chief play, while safely sitting on Oracle in hand. I decide to use Oracle now and search Chief, as I have an opportunity to end the game from using Double Summon. My final game is against Dinos. I hope you all enjoyed or found this video helpful, even though the majority of it was in my opponent's perspective. You can let me know in the comments if you feel this takes away from my video or not, so I can put effort into avoiding it for future content. I am also considering a separate series from my Road to King of Games series, where I can more casually show you gameplay from decks like Kaiba Man or Magnet Warriors without dedicating an episode of Road to King of Games to it.